In Xanadu did Kubla Khan a stately pleasure dome decree, where Alf the sacred river ran through caverns measureless to man. Down to a sunless sea, so twice 5 miles of fertile ground with walls and towers were girdled round. And there were gardens bright with sinuous rills, where blossomed many an incense-bearing tree, and here were forests ancient as the hills, enfolding sunny spots of greenery. But oh, that deep romantic chasm which slanted down the green hill athwart a sudden cover, a savage place as holy and enchanted as ere beneath a waning moon was haunted by a woman wailing for her demon lover. And from this chasm, with ceaseless turmoil seething, as if this sun in fast thick pants were breathing, a mighty fountain momentarily was forced, amid whose swift, half-intermitted burst huge fragments vaulted like rebounding hail, or chaffy grain beneath the thrasher's flail, and mid these dancing rocks at once and ever it flung up momentarily the sacred river. 5 miles meandering with mazy motion, through wood and dale the sacred river ran, then reached the caverns measureless to man, and sank in tumult to a lifeless ocean. And mid this tumult Kubla heard from far ancient voices prophesying war. The shadow of the dome of pleasure floated midway on the waves, where was heard the mingled measure from the fountain and the caves. It was a miracle of rare device, a sunny pleasure dome with caves of ice. A damsel with a dulcim, in a vision once I saw. It was an Abyssinian maid, and on her dulcim she played, singing of Mount Abora. Could I revive within me her symphony and song, to such a deep delight 'twould win me, that with music loud and long I would build that dome in air, that sunny dome, those caves of ice, and all who heard should see them there, and all should cry, beware, beware. His flashing eyes, his floating hair, weave a circle round him thrice, and close your eyes with holy dread, for he on honey dew hath fed, and drunk the milk of paradise. Who has seen the wind? Neither I nor you. But when the leaves hang trembling, the wind is passing through. Who has seen the wind? Neither you nor I. But when the trees bow down their heads, the wind is passing by. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of him is more than I can see. He is very, very like me from the heels up to the head, and I see him jump before me when I jump into my bed. The funniest thing about him is the way he likes to grow, not at all like proper children, which is always very slow, for he sometimes shoots up taller like an India rubber ball, and he sometimes gets so little that there's none of him at all. He hasn't got a notion of how children ought to play, and can only make a fool of me in every sort of way. He stays so close beside me, he's a coward, you can see. I think shame to stick to Nursey as that shadow sticks to me. One morning very early before the sun was up, I rose and found the shining dew on every buttercup, but my lazy little shadow, like an errant sleeping head, had stayed at home behind me and was fast asleep in bed. They sing their dearest songs, he, she, all of them, yeah. Treble and tenor and bass, and one to play with the candle's moon in each face. Ah no, the years, oh, how the sick leaves reel down in throngs. They clear the creeping moss, elders and juniors, aye, making the pathways neat and the garden gay, and they build a shady seat. Ah no, the years, the years. See the white storm birds wing across. They are blithely breakfasting all, men and maidens, yeah, under the summer tree, with a glimpse of the bay, while pet fowl come to the knee. Ah no, the years, oh, and the rotten rose is ripped from the wall. They change to a high new house, he, she, all of them, aye. Clocks and carpets and chairs on the lawn all day, and the brightest things that are theirs. Ah no, the years, the years. Down their carved names the raindrop plows. Over the edge of the purple down, where the single lamplight gleams, know ye the road to the merciful town that is hard by the sea of dreams, where the poor may lay their wrongs away, and the sick may forget to weep, but we, piteous, oh piteous, we wakeful, ah, piteous, we must go back with policeman day, back from the city of sleep. Weary they turn from the scroll and crown, fetter and pray and plough. They that go up to the merciful town, for her gates are closing now. It is their right in the baths of night, body and soul to steep, but we, piteous, ah, piteous, we wakeful, oh piteous, we must go back with policeman day, back from the city of sleep, over the edge of the purple down, ere the tender dreams begin. Look, we may look at the merciful town, but we may not enter in. Outcast all from her guarded wall, back to our watch we creep, we, piteous, ah piteous, we wakeful, ah piteous, we that go back with policeman day, back from the city of sleep. In love, if love be love, if love be ours, faith and unfaith can ne'er be equal powers. Unfaith is aught, is want of faith in all. It is the little rift within the lute that by and by will make the music mute, and ever widening slowly silence all. The little rift within the lover's lute, or little pitted speck in garnered fruit, that rotting inward slowly moulders all. It is not worth the keeping, let it go. But shall it answer, darling, answer no, and trust me not at all, or all in all. In the greenest of our valleys, by good angels tenanted, once a rare and stately palace, radiant palace, reared its head. In the monarch's thought's dominion it stood there, never seraph spread a pinion over fabric half so fair. Banners yellow, glorious, golden, on its roof did float and flow. This, all this, was in the olden time, long ago. And every gentle air that dallied in that sweet day, along the ramparts plumbed and pallid, a winged odour went away. Wanderers in that happy valley, through two luminous windows saw spirits moving musically, to a lute's well-tuned lore. Round about a throne where sitting Porphyrogen, in state his glory well befitting, the ruler of the realm was seen, and all with pearl and ruby glowing was the fair palace door, through which came flowing, and sparkling evermore, a troop of echoes whose sweet duty was but to sing, in voices of surpassing beauty, the wit and wisdom of their king. But evil things in robes of sorrow assailed the monarch's high estate. Ah, let us mourn, for never morrow shall dawn upon him desolate. And round about his home the glory that blushed and bloomed is but a dim remembered story of the old time entombed. And travellers now within that valley through the red-litten windows see vast forms that move fantastically to a discordant melody, while, like a ghastly rapid river, through the pale door a hideous throng rush out forever and laugh, but smile no more. On either side the river lie long fields of barley and of rye, that clothe the world and meet the sky. And through the field the road runs by to many-towered Camelot, the yellow-leaved water-lily, the green-sheaved daffodilly tremble in the water chilly round about Shalott. Willows whiten, aspens shiver, the sunbeam showers break and quiver in the stream that runneth ever by the island in the river, flowing down to Camelot. 4 grey walls and 4 grey towers overlook a space of flowers, and the silent isle embowers the Lady of Shalott. Underneath the bearded barley, the reaper reaping late and early hears her ever chanting cheery, like an angel singing clearly. Over the stream of Camelot, piling the sheaves in furries airy, beneath the moon the reaper weary, listening whispers, 'tis the fairy Lady of Shalott. The little isle is all enrailed with a rose fence and overtrailed with roses by the marge unhailed. The shallop fitteth silken sailed, skimming down to Camelot. A pearl garland winds her head, she leaneth on a velvet bed, full royally apparelled, the Lady of Shalott. No time hath she to sport and play, a charmed web she weaves alay. A curse is on her if she stay, her weaving either night or day. To look down to Camelot, she knows not what the curse may be, therefore she weaveth steadily, therefore no other care hath she, the Lady of Shalott. She lives with little joy or fear, over the water running near, the sheep bell tinkles in her ear, before her hangs a mirror clear, reflecting towered Camelot, and as the mazy web she whirls, she sees the surly village churls, and the red cloaks of market girls pass onward from Shalott. Sometimes a troop of damsels glad, an abbot on an ambling pad, sometimes a curly shepherd lad, or long-haired page in crimson clad, goes by to towered Camelot, and sometimes through the mirror blue the knights come riding 2 and 2. She hath no loyal knight and true, the Lady of Shalott. But in her web she still delights to weave the mirror's magic sights, for often through the silent nights a funeral with plums and lights and music came from Camelot. Or when the moon was overheard, came 2 lovers lately wed. I am half sick of shadows, said the Lady of Shalott. A bow shot from her bower eaves, he rode between the barley sheaves. The sun came dazzling through the leaves, and flamed upon the brazen grease of bold Sir Lancelot. A red cross knight for ever kneeled to a lady in his shield, that sparkled on the yellow field beside remote Shalott. The gemmy bridle glittered free, like to some branch of stars we see, hung in the golden galaxy. The bridle bells rang merrily as he rode down from Camelot, and from his blazoned baldric slung a mighty silver bugle hung, and as he rode his armour rung beside remote Shalott. All in the blue unclouded weather, thick jewelled shone the saddle leather, the helmet and the helmet feather burned like one burning flame together, as he rode down from Camelot, as one through the purple night, below the starry clusters bright, some bearded meteor trailing light moves over green Shalott. His broad clear brow in sunlight glowed, on burnished hoofs his war horse trod. From underneath his helmet flowed his coal-black curls as on he rode. As he rode down from Camelot, from the bank and from the river, he flashed into the crystal mirror. Tiralira, tiralira, sang Sir Lancelot. She left the web, she left the loom, she made 3 paces through the room. She saw the water flower bloom, she saw the helmet and the bloom. She looked down to Camelot, out flew the web and floated wide. The mirror cracked from side to side. The curse has come upon me, cried the Lady of Shalott. In the stormy east wind straining, the pale yellow woods were waning, the broad stream and his banks complaining, heavily the low sky remaining over towered Camelot. Outside the isle a shadow boat beneath a willow lay afloat, below the cavern stern she wrote, the Lady of Shalott. A cloud-white crown of pearls she dight, all ornamented in snowy white, that loosely flew, her zone in sight, clasped with one blinding diamond bright, her eyes wide fixed on Camelot. Though the squally east wind keenly blew, with folded arms serenely by the water stood the queenly Lady of Shalott. With a steady stone glance, like some bold seer in a trance, beholding all his own mischance, mute, with a glassy countenance, she looked down to Camelot. It was the closing of the day. She loosed the chain, and down she lay. The broad stream bore her far away, the Lady of Shalott. As when to sailors while they roam by creeks and outfalls far from home, rising and dropping with the foam, from dying swans wild warblings come, blown shoreward, so to Camelot still, as the boat head wound along the willowy hills and fields among, they heard her chanting her death song, the Lady of Shalott. A long-drawn carol, mournful, holy, she chanted loudly, till her eyes were darkened wholly, and her smooth face sharpened slowly, turned to tower Camelot. For ere she reached upon the tide the first house by the waterside, singing in her song she died, the Lady of Shalott. Under tower and balcony, by garden wall and gallery, a pale, pale corpse she floated by, dead cold between the houses high, dead in towered Camelot, knight and burgher, lord and dame, to the planked wharfage came. Below the stern they read her name, the Lady of Shalott. They crossed themselves, their stars they blessed, Knight, minstrel, abbot, squire, and guest, they lay a parchment on her breast. They puzzled more than all the rest. The well-fed wits at Camelot. The web was woven curiously. The charm is broken utterly. Draw near and fear not. This is I, the Lady of Shalott. I have been one acquainted with the night. I have walked out in the rain and back in the rain. I have outwalked the furthest city light. I have looked down the saddest city lane. I have passed by the watchman on his beat and dropped my eyes unwilling to explain. I have stood still and stopped the sound of feet, when far away an interrupted cry came over houses from another street, but not to call me back or say goodbye. And further still, at an unearthly height, one luminary clock against the sky proclaimed the time was neither wrong nor right. I have been one acquainted with the night. The boy stood on the burning deck, whence all but him had fled. The flame that lit the battle's wreck shone round him over the dead. Yet beautiful and bright he stood, as born to rule the storm, a creature of heroic blood, a proud though childlike form. The flames rolled on, he would not go, without his father's word, that father faint in death below. His voice no longer heard. He called out aloud, "Say, Father, say, if yet my task is done." He knew not that the chieftain lay unconscious of his son. "Speak, Father," once again he cried, "if I may not yet be gone." And but the blooming shots replied, and fast the flames rolled on. Upon his brow he felt their breath, and in his waving hair, and looked from the lone post of death in still yet despair, and shouted but once more aloud, "My father, must I stay?" While over him fast, through the sail and shroud, the wreathing fires made way. They wrapped the ship in splendor wild. They caught the flag on high, and streamed above the gallant child like banners in the sky. Then came a burst of thunder sound. The boy, oh, where was he? Ask of the winds that far around with fragments strew the sea, with mast and helm and pennon fair, that well had borne their part. But the noblest thing that perished there was that young, faithful heart. It seemed that out of battle I escaped, down some profound, dull tunnel long since scooped, through granites which titanic wars had groined. Yet also there encumbered sleepers groaned, too fast in thought or death to be bestirred. Then, as I probed them, one sprang up and stared with piteous recognition in fixed eyes, lifting distressful hands as if to bless, and by his smile I knew that sullen hall. By his dead smile I knew we stood in hell. With 1,000 fears that vision's face was grained, yet no blood reached there from the upper ground, and no guns thumped or down the flues made moan. "Strange friend," I said, "here is no cause to moan." "None," said the other, "save the undone years, the hopelessness, whatever hope is yours. Was my life also? I went hunting wild after the wildest beauty in the world, which lies not calm in eyes or braided hair, but mocks the steady running of the hour. And if it grieves, grieves richer than here. For by my gleam might many men have laughed, and by my weeping something had been left, which must die now. I mean the truth untold, the pity of war, the pity war distilled. Now men will go content with what we spoiled, or discontent boil bloody and be spilled. They will be swift with the swiftness of a tigress. None will break ranks, though nations track from progress. Courage was mine, and I had mystery. Wisdom was mine, and I had mastery. To miss the march of this retreating world into vain citadels that are not walled. Then when much blood had clogged their chariot wheels, I would go up and wash them from sweet wells. Even with truths that lie too deep for taint, I would have poured my soul without stint, but not through wounds, not on the cess of war. Foreheads of men have bled where no wounds were. I am the enemy you killed, my friend. I knew you in this dark, for so you frowned. Yesterday through me as you jabbed and killed, I parried, but my hands were loath and cold. Let us sleep now. Soldiers are citizens of death's grey land, drawing no dividend from time's tomorrows. In the great hour of destiny they stand, each with his feuds and jealousies and sorrows. Soldiers are sworn to action, they must win. Some flaming, fatal climax with their lives. Soldiers are dreamers when the guns begin. They think of firelit homes, clean beds and wives. I see them in foul dugouts gnawed by rats, and in the ruined trenches lashed with rain, dreaming of things they did with balls and bats, and mocked by hopeless longing to regain bank holidays and picture shows and spats, and going to the office in the train. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height my soul can reach, when feeling out of sight, for the ends of being and ideal grace. I love thee to the level of every day's most quiet need, by sun and by candlelight. I love thee freely, as men strive for right. I love thee purely, as they turn from praise. I love thee with the passion put to use in my old griefs, and with my childhood's faith. I love thee with a love I seem to lose with my lost saints. I love thee with the breath, smile, tears of all my life, and if God choose, I shall but love thee better after death. Some say the world will end in fire, and some say ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice.